Hello and welcome everyone back to Lion's Lane. My name is Leo and today I'm bringing you another video in the Smaugust challenge. So the prompt for today was flower and I thought I can definitely do that. I didn't have any inspiration for the last two prompts. The first one was bee and the second one was gas, which I had a few ideas but I just didn't feel inspired to do them, so I didn't want to force anything, because then I think the art would suffer. So I just decided to wait until one caught my attention, and flower was one of them. So when I thought of a flower and I thought of Smaugust, my brain immediately went to Snapdragons. I'm sure many of you have probably seen these around. If you don't know what they are, they're this neat little flower. I do have a reference there up in my drawing. This neat little flower, they grow pretty much everywhere. I've not heard of them being incredibly difficult to come across, but if you have any like botanical gardens nearby where you are, you will probably find them if you go to visit. But I love Snapdragons. They come in many different shapes and varieties. I went with this more clover petal looking type Snapdragon. There are also some that are more pointy on the ends, but I really like this clover shape. And now the lizard that I'm basing this dragon off of is actually called, I believe it's an anole, but there's also a version of it called the Pinocchio lizard, and it has this cute upturned nose, and I was like, man, I really want to do that. So that's what this lizard's based on, and I will put a picture up right here. And now they're kind of creepy looking up close, but I think from a distance they're pretty cute, and you can always draw something cuter than it actually is in real life. So I decided to go with that lizard for this dragon we have today. And I just really like the idea of it kind of like clinging to a stalk, kind of like a chameleon or something. I think chameleons are super cute, and I'm definitely going to be doing a chameleon dragon for one of these prompts. I'm not sure which one yet, but I'm gonna do it. So yeah, I just have it clinging to this flower here in the sketch, and it's of course another Snapdragon. And I was going to do more Snapdragons in the background, but it just seemed way too cluttered. And you'll see me kind of fooling with that a bit later, but yeah, I knocked out the sketch and honestly the whole piece pretty quickly. I woke up way earlier than usual, and I think I just had nothing better to do than to draw this video, so I got it out pretty quick. The petals on the Snapdragons were a little weird to sketch. These particular Snapdragons, as you can see, have like a bulb in the center, which I think is just part of the petal, but it looks like a bulb, so that was kind of hard to depict with simple line art, but all in all, it ended up not being too bad. I also gave him some petal-like wings on his back. They will imagine that they can, you know, spread out and flap and fly and whatever. Really, I just wanted to make a flower lizard. Maybe he's a flightless dragon, who knows? But I kind of imagine him to be, I guess, more like a fairy dragon. Like he's very mystical, he loves plants and gardens, and that's usually where you can find them, is hanging out with the flowers, kind of blending in. So that's kind of my headcanon. So here as I'm doing the line art, you'll see me thickening up the petals in the front as far as the lines are concerned. Something that I learned from I believe it was a Skillshare class. When I remember which one it was, I will link it down below. But something I learned from a class is that when you have objects in the foreground that you want to stand out, that it's really good to thicken up the line art of that particular part of the piece. Particularly on the edges, just so that you can create that sort of separation of what's in the foreground and what's in the background. So that's why these lines in the front are thicker than the ones in the back. And I have to say, that's probably one of the best tips that I've ever come across doing art is line weight variation, because it really can make a piece just look that much more professional. Not necessarily lifelike, because, you know, my art style is not necessarily realistic, but it definitely adds some variety, I think. So I decided to add some little glowing spots. The eyes are going to glow, and then those little things on the hands. I don't know if they're extra eyes or some kind of sensory organ or something, but I have discovered doing this challenge and my challenge last month that I have an obsession. And I kind of knew this already, but it's interesting to see it come out of my artwork. I have an obsession with green, which green is my favorite color, so that makes a lot of sense. And I also have an obsession with glowy blue things. My first dragon piece had glowy blue, my second dragon piece had glowy blue, and this piece has glowy blue. Even though I varied the colors on the dragon themselves, it's like, okay, well, more blue glowy eyes. It's like, if you guys go back and watch any of my videos where I'm drawing humanoid characters, several of them, more than probably half, I would say, of my characters have red hair. I just can't escape it. I love redheads, and I love drawing them, and yeah. It's just interesting when you're making a YouTube video, and then you go back and you have to watch it and edit it and all that stuff, and you see these patterns, and you're like, huh, that's kind of interesting. Anyway, so here I'm adding in the flat colors. I really loved this like tropical sunset color kind of vibe with the yellows and oranges and pinks. So I decided to focus on that for the main flowers coming off of the dragon himself. And then behind him, I still wanted to go with something that matched. So I did pink, but I made the centers of the flowers lighter so that the attention wouldn't be pulled away from his face. And there you can see I added the blue, this beautiful like cyan, cerulean blue. And I am just picking some colors from the image above and trying to add in these little like veins. Basically, these Snapdragon seem to have this like veining detail. So I'm trying to add that in without it looking too weird. I don't know, it's hard when you're doing a style. My style is definitely more, I don't know, I don't want to say cartoony, but it can be sometimes, because I grew up, you know, watching anime and cartoons and reading comic books, and so when I draw it, that comes out a lot in my art. I can do like realistic paintings and stuff like that, but it's not my natural state. It is not who I grew up to be. So when you try to add realistic details on something that's not meant to be super realistic, it can look a little weird, is the point I'm trying to get to. So these veins were one of those things where I was like, well, I'm not sure if I like them. They look a little strange, but I left them in because I think it's an important detail of the Snapdragon, so I left them in. Here you can see I'm adding more glow. I struggle with glow sometimes because I just want it to do the thing, you know? And what I mean by that is, like, sure, I can make the center very bright, but it's like trying to get that glow effect around the lines and the colors, and you know, the blue glow is going to affect the color of other things. So what I did to kind of remedy that in this piece was I just did an alpha lock layer for the line art, and then I colored the lines with a very light blue to kind of add that glowing effect. And then over top of that, I added some light airbrushing in that same sort of blue color. So that kind of helped with the added glow. here you can see I'm trying to add some Snapdragons in the background. I saw it so clearly in my head, but when I tried it, it just wasn't successful, so I ended up scrapping that idea and going with a more simple, just kind of like spacey fairy realm night sky sort of moment. Kind of like you're looking up at him and that's the sky behind him. And this is one of the things I love about Procreate, is I did this background very easily, very quickly with just a few brushes. So it's really useful. It's a really useful tool. I am not sponsored by Procreate. That would be the coolest thing ever. But I know I talk about it a lot, and it's just because I love it so much. It does have a few drawbacks, but for $10, can't go wrong. I have used the crap out of this app. So if you guys are looking for a cheap art program that you can get on your iPad, Procreate is the one that I recommend. I do all of my artwork with Procreate. I have like I have an XP pen that is great, but Procreate was $10, you know, and you can get a used iPad fairly easily for fairly inexpensive these days. So yeah, that's my recommendation. So I am adding more veining to the flowers in the background, just a few final touches, doing some shadows, and once I do the shadows, I end up doing some rim lights, some blue rim lights and highlights, and also added some glitter effect on the main petals of the dragon here. But yeah, this video is pretty much coming to an end. Once I finish the highlights, that is pretty much it. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I know I rambled quite a bit in this video, so I do apologize for that, but I had a lot to say, so hopefully you guys found it entertaining at the very least. Thank you so much for watching. I am looking forward to doing the next prompt, whichever one sparks inspiration inside of me. And I'm really loving drawing all of these dragons. I promise on the next one, I will not do blue glowies. If I do glowies, they'll be some other color, not blue. Trying to break my habits, my comfortable habits here. But yeah, thank you guys so much. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like below. Go ahead and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything. And leave a comment telling me what you liked, what you didn't, or what you'd like to see from me in the future. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.